Jaywick, the most deprived place in the UK. Anytime you find Jaywick in the news, it's often in the statistics as the poorest ward in Britain. It had been included among England's most deprived places. Many of the viewers might not fully appreciate how terrible the situation of things in this town is since having given it our full coverage. The condition of this place is not improving at all. If it is changing, it is for the worse, not the better. To fully appreciate the seriousness of the level of depravity in this town, we want to devote an entire video to discussing Jaywick as the most deprived place in the United Kingdom. But let's start by introducing you to Jaywick. Where is Jaywick? Jaywick is a coastal village. It is in the Tendring district in the northeast of Essex, England. Located close to Clacton-on-Sea toward the west, it lies on the North Sea coast of England. It's about 60 miles or 97 kilometres from London. The place was built in the 1930s on a parcel of land which was originally fields and salt marsh, not suitable for any form of agriculture. The entrepreneur Frank Stedman, who purchased it in 1928, planned low-cost, affordable holiday homes for working-class families. That was how Jaywick became a popular holiday resort throughout the 1930s for Londoners and residents of Essex to go and enjoy their summer. Then the Second World War. No thanks to World War II, the fate and lot of Jaywick turned bad. Many homes in Essex and other parts of England were lost to the war as a result of bombings. People relocated to their homes in Jaywick. Don't forget, however, that these were just holiday homes. They were designed and constructed as temporary residences, not inhabited for a long time. So the houses were thin and small. But a shortage of housing after the war forcefully converted those properties to permanent residences. Since they were originally substandard, these houses were abandoned when World War II ended. The local community wouldn't allow the demolition of the properties. This should give you an idea of why most houses you see today in the village are in a state of disrepair. As an unplanned town, Jaywick currently has significant problems. It is at a high risk of flooding. The Tendring Council in charge of the area says that if any major flood occurs within the next 50 years, the seawall will be overwhelmed and the village will be swept away. Besides, the unemployment rate in the area is just too high to be considered for habitation. A disturbing revelation at first. When the Indices of Multiple Deprivation 2010 first included Seaside, the town of Jaywick, on the list as one of the most deprived areas in England, it didn't go down well in some quarters. Attempts were made to reject such a description. But in the 2015 measurement of deprivation in the UK, Jaywick topped the 32,844 small areas or neighbourhoods as the most deprived. Again, it was named the most deprived place in 2019 for the third time. Essex town received international coverage during the last US election after the election campaign advert for a congressional candidate featured it. An image of Jaywick with unpaved roads, dilapidated buildings and littered roads was used, and a stern warning was placed on the picture. Only you can stop this from becoming a reality. If you were a lover of Jaywick and saw this, what would you do? Your guess is correct. The advert sparked fury among residents. That was not all. It was shocking to the residents of this town to receive such a horrible ranking of their homes. Was that not a reality? Unfair media coverage? Those furious at what had been revealed about Jaywick as the most deprived place are trying to wave aside the ranking and figures. They claim that figures can be misleading, that they don't portray the whole picture of a town, but the most vociferous argument has been against the media. They say the media hasn't been kind to them as it's been unfair in the coverage of their town. That has been a common train of thought for Jaywick residents. The documentary entitled Benefits by the Sea, aired by Channel 5, was filmed in the town. It featured a pregnant drug addict high on heroin and a woman having confused.com tattooed on her forehead. The documentary exposed how deprived the place is by showing the debased lives of residents. Another television show, Benefits Britain, focused on the same thing about the town. The bottom line is that the town has become an example of a low standard of living and crime. If those statistics were not to be believed, what about the media? Well, that is how poorly the media have portrayed the area. What they are showing are real pictures. They were not acted. Many more pictures like that are in the public domain, as exemplified in the campaign picture I earlier referred to. Tough tourism not for the love of Jaywick. Are you surprised that many people still visit this most deprived place in the UK? That's one form of tourism the town and its residents should not be proud of. Those types of visitors are called dark tourists, the sightseers involved in dark tourism by travelling to places that are associated with misfortunes, rough or dangerous. Following 2010 and 2015 reports on the indices of multiple deprivation, which described the area as the most deprived place in the UK, and the documentaries earlier mentioned, the town became a hotspot of dark tourists. They wanted to see if truly the situation in the town is as bad as its reputation, and they are intrigued by what they are seeing. You need to hear from the tourists and see how their accounts corroborate what's in the official figures. For instance, after a popular ranking website considered the opinions of over 110 people who have visited the town, it named Jaywick one of the worst places to live in England in the most recent ranking. The website describes it as follows. Regularly topping the charts as England's most deprived area, if you've never heard of it, it's a shanty town built on the undercarriage of Clacton-on-Sea, Essex, that makes even the worst bits of Blackpool seem like paradise. Futile attempt to paint better pictures. As mentioned earlier, staunch supporters of this town are trying their best to change the narrative. They are making efforts to paint better pictures of their home. They say they have lost faith in the media for portraying their town in a bad light, and they are encouraging others not to trust the media so much. A 20-year-old resident admits that while their home is not Dubai, it is not as bad as portrayed. They castigated Benefits Britain and Benefits by the Sea, claiming that their town is not as bad as documentaries like these making it out to seem. They blamed the people who come to the place with preconceived ideas. In fact, a 59-year-old resident came all out in the press that there is no better beach than Jaywick, adding to the numbing opium-positive feelings. He said if you visit them in the summer, you see that they have the best beach in the world. But their efforts have been futile. The facts on the ground stare everyone in the face. Efforts to turn things around. The first step towards addressing and probably solving a problem is admitting the existence of the challenge. That is why all those denials will not help Jaywick and its residents. After deeming it the most deprived area of England, the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government advised the responsible officials to put more effort to take the home of 4,665 people in Essex out of the list. The council has now admitted that it is never a pleasant thing to be named the most deprived neighbourhood in the country at all, let alone making the list 3 times in 10 years. Councillor Paul Honeywood, a member council with a special responsibility, once said, "We, working with our partners and the community, are doing a lot of work to address issues of deprivation with initiatives across the short, medium and long term. We can only hope that whatever they're doing will yield positive results." Now it's your turn. What do you feel about Jaywick? Can you refute the facts available in the public domain about it? Do you agree it's the most deprived place in the UK? Please let us have your comments. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment and turn on the notification bell. This is Learning Canteen.